All right, we ready? Good evening. Today is Tuesday, November 8th, and the board meeting was called to order at 5:15 p.m. today, with the board going directly into executive session under ORS 192-6602E to conduct deliberations with persons designated to negotiate real property transactions. It is now 6:02 p.m. and we are reconvening our meeting with the public session, which is a business session. I'll now take attendance. Director Hyen will be absent tonight, and we have one of our student advisors, Student Advisor McDonald, who will be a little bit late. Everybody else is present. And now I'd like to turn it over to our second vice chair, Guzman Ortiz, to read our land acknowledgement.
Good evening. We are gathered today on the land of the Kalapuya, who are represented by the Confederate Tribes of Grand Ronde and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians. The relationship between the Kalapuya people and this land continues unbroken to this day, and we offer gratitude for the land and for the generations present and past who have stewarded the land since time immemorial. We respectfully acknowledge and honor past, present, and future Native American and Indigenous students and staff of Salem-Keizer Public Schools. We invite you to join us in honoring these ancestral grounds and celebrating the resilience and strength of all Native American and Indigenous people.
Thank you. Now I'd ask that you join me in doing the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next we'll go to item number, letter D, agenda modifications. There are no agenda modifications that I'm aware of. And so next we will go to 4A, spotlights on success, and I will turn it over to Superintendent Perry.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's great to see you here on Election Day, another board meeting on Election Day. I'm going to turn over the first spotlight, which is a department spotlight, to Bob Silva, our Chief Operations Officer.
Good evening, Chair Carson Cottingham, board members, and Superintendent Perry. I'd like to take a few minutes to recognize all of the dedicated financial services employees and their daily contributions to keep our district running smoothly and efficiently. Salem-Keizer Public Schools was recently awarded the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting presented by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada for its comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year. Of special note is that the school district has been awarded the certificate every year since 1987. Government Finance Officers Association advances excellence in government finance by providing best practices, professional development, resources, and practical research for more than 21,000 members and the communities they serve. The Certificate of Excellence is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by government and its management. Sarah Head, who I believe is online with a few of her teammates, Director of Budget and Finance, said, "I am honored to have a team that works so well together, guides new staff members, and improves our year-end and reporting process each year. I would also like to thank Cherie Bray, who wasn't able to join us this evening. So thank you to our financial services team for every requisition and report they review. It is because of their detailed work that our district operates successfully." So thank you, Sarah and team.
And every question from the superintendent and every other staff member that asks you questions all day long. It's great to see you all online tonight. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
All right, our next recognition is our community spotlight, and it will be presented by Melissa Renegna, our community school outreach coordinator from West Salem High School. Is Melissa on the line? Maybe Brian, you're going to present. Okay,
Yes.
are you going to present tonight, Brian?
Yes, I am. Melissa's not able to be here.
Awesome. It's great to see you. Thanks for stepping in for her.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair Carson Cunningham, board members, and Superintendent Perry. Tonight, I wish to recognize an amazing community program for their kindness and dedication to helping others succeed. Coleman Crocker and the United Way Good 360 team work tirelessly to share donations and resources with the community, including Salem-Keizer Public Schools. Coleman has helped us provide basic necessities and toys for hundreds of families in need at West Salem High School. They also welcomed Students for Change Club to serve in the Good 360 warehouse and learn directly from their service about the impact on the community. Coleman even adjusted his work hours to accommodate Students for Change Club to be able to do their service learning after school in the week. Being chosen as a United Way distributor has enabled us to help families at West who need it most. Partners like Good 360 help fill the gaps where grant funding may not reach. Coleman is always there to help us find what families need. Thank you so much, Coleman, Good 360 team, and United Way for being such a genuine, caring people who make our community better and stronger.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Coleman, for your contributions. All right, and our final spotlight tonight is presented by Tracy Isham, our counselor at South Salem High School, and she's presenting a community spotlight, and he's not able to join us tonight, so we're going to send him the little video of this. And Tracy, thank you for being here tonight, but also thank you for your leadership in the superintendent's report tonight. I'm giving some updates around some of our comm rooms and our social emotional learning through our SIA, and you're one of our district leaders that really has pulled off so much of that. So thank you for being here tonight as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Christy. So good evening, Chair Carson Cottingham, board members, and Superintendent Perry. And shout out to Coleman. He's also a huge supporter for South, and we appreciate your program. So thank you so much for having me here tonight to share with you the amazing things that Mike Riddle Construction is doing within our district. Mike partnered with myself and Corbin Blader, a South Salem and C-Tech residential construction student from the class of 2022, to build Zendens. The Zendens project came about when our school was provided a classroom space for our comm room, and our counseling team began working to furnish that space. The Zendens are large, movable cubbies with a cushioned bench, vibrant nature scenes, and dimmable lighting where students can sit down or lay down to relax and de-stress. When Mike heard about the idea for the Zendens, he was immediately interested and asked to join our team. From the first initial conversation we had with Mike about our project, he was all in. He said, you know, I could give you some money for your project, but what I'd really like to do is join your team and make this thing happen. And we were so excited. Mike volunteered his personal time. He came in every week to the school to work with myself and Corbin, mostly Mike and Corbin. They did the work and I was just there to take pictures, and worked in the wood shop at South several times a week between, let's see, all of second semester. So from January or February through June, and they worked on the project. When more materials were needed, a lumber shipment would arrive at the school. When it was time for the electrical to be installed, an electrician would show up and do the work. So it went on and on like that. Mike fully funded and supported the project. And we're just so, so grateful. It wouldn't have happened without him. He has shown extreme generosity, not only monetarily, but with his time, and most especially his mentorship. The relationship that he developed with Corbin working in the shop side by side was just priceless. And so just thank you so much to Mike Riddle and the entire Mike Riddle construction team. I know Corbin, myself, and the students that this benefits will forever be grateful to have had the opportunity to partner with Mike. And I think Rhonda is also here to speak to that. Thank you.
All right. Well said, Tracy. Thank you. Mike Riddle, as the president of the Advanced Construction Education Board, has literally made it possible for CTEC students to design and build a home. We are on the 9th house that Mike has made it possible for us to build. And he does all this even though he's an incredibly busy and brilliant industry professional. He builds Street of Dreams level homes. Literally, his homes are featured on the Street of Dreams. And as talented and as busy as he makes the time to overcome any obstacles that get in the way of the work that we're trying to do for kids. I didn't realize until Tracy shared with me that he was involved in this project at South. I know all the time he spends with our students at CTEC, but it doesn't surprise me. Somehow he seems to carve out more than 24 hours in a day when what's at stake are students' futures. And he has literally impacted hundreds of CTEC students and alum by making it possible for us to build a home, and the great work that he's done with South Salem High School.
Thank you to both of you, and we will make sure that Mike gets this little video clip of our appreciations. Just a huge supporter for our students and their career pathways. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, that's the last of the spotlights.
Okay, next up, I believe, is the superintendent's report. So back to you, Superintendent Perry.
All right, good evening, everyone. I've got 3 or 4 parts to this, and you'll see some pictures of those fabulous Zen dens in my report tonight. In your written reports is our student investment account final report. This is a look back report to last year. So this is a look back. It's due to ODE in this time frame. You need to see it in public, and then we post it on our website. So and all these slides are also in the supplemental information. So I'm going to kind of go quickly, and then I can stop for questions. So the first bit of information I have for you is just around what our strategies are. So there's 12 strategies listed, and it shows on this, which from here you won't be able to see very well, basically what each strategy costs us. And we also break it out by personnel. So you can see in the student investment account, we have about 271 FTE or positions that are in that, because we know that what changes kids' lives is people. So you can see how those are laid out by strategies. I haven't given you a deep dive of what each position is, but you can see the FTE there. Some highlights from last year. We had a social emotional learning strategy and continuum of supports. We have school social workers now embedded in all of our secondary schools, and we're really working hard on being sure that we have bilingual, bicultural. We don't have many, but we do have 3, which is an improvement. So we keep trying to work on being sure that our kids see themselves in the people there to support them. Extracurricular activities, we have chess clubs at 19 elementary schools, which is a great game for kids for their critical thinking. And then also we've really expanded our middle school activities and extracurricular programs. Across every school, they have different types of clubs. And what we've been able to do with the SIA is to think differently and not just think about athletics. So we have, a Dungeons and Dragons club at one school, and we have a chess club at another school, and we have a makeup club at a school. So on, we have all kinds of things because we want them interested in things that keep them busy. Also, special education. We have a community resource specialist now that connects with our families. We've done professional learning, added time to our new teacher induction. And then what you heard from Tracy tonight is about the calm rooms and sensory spaces. So I'm just going to show you some pictures from schools in the next couple slides. They look different everywhere. So some of these look kind of messy, but the kids love them. You can see they've got places to sit and be by themselves. They've got teaching. Lots of them have some teaching around social emotional learning in within that, so kids will come into the space and then have a learning activity. This is the one at South Salem High School, and these are the Zen Dens. And Alice and I were wondering today how we could maybe personally purchase a Zen Den and just temporarily locate it at exec admin. But if I know a couple of you have been in the spaces, it's just a wonderful space for kids. And they also have some really great data around what calm room, sensory room does for kids. And their data shows improved attendance. And the amount of time they come into the space now is also greatly reduced. So kids who might not have been feeling great, might feel a little anxiety, come to the wellness room, spend a little bit of time, regroup, go back to class. Previously, they would go home. So it's really a way to keep kids in school, even if they need to check out of a classroom for 15 or 20 minutes. So what I love about South is the way the counseling team at South Salem really monitors data. Then a couple additional highlights. We have the continuation of the SIA Advisory Committee. Multiple of you have sat in on that at times. This year was our first year of being fully funded. We're prioritizing some SIA strategies based on the pandemic impact. And then the dual language expansion this year is out of that. So you've seen that strategy begin to be implemented, which is super exciting. And then this year we're doing that deep ongoing engagement, which started in our SIA a number of years ago before we ever had our first plan. And so what happens next, because some of you have attended those engagement sessions, what happens next is we collect all the feedback we're getting, and then we have a partner at Willamette ESD who helps us put that in themes, and then we push it into what will our strategic plan look like, and then that will come back to you in the boardroom. So you'll see the outcome of those engagement sessions and the data come back to you in student investment account, in high school success, and Perkins grant. It's all together in one now, so you'll see a comprehensive plan that really has targeted strategies in it. If I could predict, I would wonder if 11 strategies is too many, and how do we prioritize the highest leverage strategies to be sure we're really focusing on the right things. But again, we're collecting all the feedback, and we'll begin that planning process. And then I'll keep you updated along the way. From here, I'm going to turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Cobb, who is online tonight, and she's going to talk to you about our health adoption.
Thank you, Superintendent Perry. Let me turn on my video really quickly. Okay. Good evening, Chair Carson Cunningham, Board Directors, student advisors, and Superintendent Perry. I'm sorry I can't be in person with you today, but I'm here to give you an update of our K-5 health adoption curriculum. As a reminder, I wanted to take you back to the conversation we had.
Assistant Superintendent Cobb, can you hold just 1 minute?
Yes, of course.
We can hear you loud and clear, but the visual has gone away.
Oh, okay. I can see it on my end. Do you want me to
just hold
reshare?
Yeah, just hold tight for a minute.
Okay.
There we are. You're back. Okay. You're good to go.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I wanted to start by reminding everyone our conversation we had in the summer about the adoption and how we start a process like this. First of all, we put together a steering committee made up of educators and parents, community members, and we have Vice Chair Guzman also as part of the steering committee. They have met, I think, twice this year, and they are just supporting us at every step of the implementation of the adoption and the piloting of the curriculum. Then we went out and looked for the curriculum that we actually wanted to pilot. And ODE has only one approved health curriculum that has all the materials in English and in Spanish. And as you know, that is very important for us. It's almost a non-negotiable for any curriculum materials, any instructional materials that come into the district. We really need to have the option to have it in English and in Spanish, even better if it's in more languages, but at least English and Spanish. So the one that we chose has materials for families and students in both languages. Then the team selected 7 pilot schools, different schools, title, non-title, in different areas of town. So teachers can try the lessons and parents can view the materials. Then we are doing parent meetings to inform parents about the materials and let them see it and ask questions. And then, of course, we want to collect feedback from educators and parents to see what they think about the curriculum. So the curriculum we are piloting is called the Great Body Shop. It is aligned with all of those standards that you see there in front of you, Health National Standards, Sexuality Education Standards, Center for Disease Control, core concepts recommended by Health Education, and then Oregon Health Content Standards. But what we like most about it is that it's developmentally appropriate. The lessons have been developed really with a lens of the age groups that students are in through the grades, and then also their culture, their backgrounds. It is very culturally responsive and also is medically accurate. So how does the lesson work? What do kids see? There is a student magazine. It almost looks like a little magazine, like 3-page magazine that students receive, and it has informational text. It has maybe a couple stories. It has just everything that the teacher and the student will process in that lesson. The lessons happen once a week. And then after those lessons are done, we send that material home to parents because it has activities for the family to do. It has discussions to share with the family, and then it has homework. And again, all of that is being shared with families and at those 7 pilot schools. So the pilot schools, the work that we have done in the pilot schools started with a training where people from the curriculum came and trained our teachers on October 14th. We did a full day training. Teachers had a chance to access the materials not only in print, but also online. We also gave teachers access so that they could share access with parents that wanted to look at the material online. And then we are planning to do surveys at the end of every month, starting from November all the way through January when we finish our pilot, so that we can collect feedback from teachers and see how this curriculum works for them and how it worked, most importantly, for the students. Then we have engaged in parent meetings. We sent home letters to families in these schools on October 10th, that second week of October, telling them about the new health curriculum and the plans to implement it. Then we did meetings with parents from October 20th until this week. And in the meeting, we talked about why this curriculum, how we chose this curriculum, what's the process for adoption of a curriculum at the elementary level. Then we showed them the actual material. We went over a couple of lessons, answered lots of questions, and then they had a chance to preview the materials of the 3 units that we will be teaching in these next 3 months that you see there in the screen. Something important that I want to mention is that another feature that we like about this curriculum is that each of the lesson has performance objectives that focus on knowledge, values, but also that make really good connections to other subjects. So a teacher could use it, for example, if they're talking about germs, she can use that lesson in a science lesson, or she can use that lesson in a language arts lesson to do a compare and contrast activity. the lessons just lend themselves to be able to be integrated in other content areas. And that's something that teachers have given us good feedback on. And one of the most important pieces is for us to give opportunity to the community to provide feedback. So the curriculum department is gathering all the rest of the materials that Great Body Shop is sending us so that we can have them physically in a space. And then we will send information to families and community members so that they can come in and join us at a viewing of the curriculum. And we are working on finding a few good locations where people can come in and look at the curriculum, ask some questions, and then provide us with some feedback. And Superintendent Perry, I'll pass it back to you. I don't know if the board has some questions that I can answer, and then we'll move into the next item in the presentation.
Yeah, and I'm going to have them work on your visual again, but I'm going to do a pause here. Are there questions for Assistant Superintendent Cobb?
Chair, thank you. Is our Assistant Superintendent? She can hear.
I think she can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Just the visual.
Now, the question I have is this available online so that parents can help their children in, reinforcing or helping them prepare for the tests or assist at home in addition to coming to the building and viewing this material?
So are you asking the question from a curriculum adoption and parents preview ahead of adoption, or are you asking the question of once adopted, do we have materials for parents?
Both.
Both?
Because does this come only in paper material, or does it come in
Yeah.
an online version where parents can also access?
Yeah.
And
I'll let Olga answer the online question, but we do have a newsletter. There's a newsletter that goes home with kids as they do different monthly units to help reinforce the skill. So this is one way when the materials are in the classroom. And I don't know about the copyright, so I'm going to ask Olga that question.
Yes. So right now for the pilot, Great Body Shop is giving us access and has given us access to provide to families so they can go online and view some of these lessons. I don't know. I will send you an email with after we adopt, if the board decides and we adopt this curriculum, I'm not sure if families will continue to have full access or if this is just access while we are piloting to some of the sample lessons. I can, so I know right now we have access to sample lessons because we are in the pilot, in piloting time. But then after that, I think is mostly teachers who will have full access. And then we communicate to parents because they will all get the student magazine. Every time a student reviews a lesson, then the magazine goes home. And there's also the newsletters that go home with all of the things that students will review over that month. And you all have that sample magazine in your packets right now.
so can I just ask a quick follow-up? We have students who participate on EDGE. There's an online version. Then we have got close to about 100 or 110 different languages. So sometimes they may ask a family or some other friend to help in their, homework or reading and kind of translating, even though they may not be available in that language. And sometimes as immigrants, it takes a little longer to kind of take time with this material to understand and then explain it to their children. So is there a way to have an option? Because by the time it gets available in different languages, it will take years.
And a lot of times that's up to the publisher. So we're a little bit tied to what publishers have for their own copyright. But I know high on the minds of the adoption committee are the different groups we serve, and our kids speaking other languages other than English or Spanish are high on their mind.
You can also, in preparation, I went to their website. There's a nice 10-minute overview of their whole, what the whole Great Body Shop is about and how they teach age appropriately. I would recommend any parent watch.
All right, I'll keep moving on. Tonight, we put the three proclamations in the consent agenda, and because I said I'd highlight them in the superintendent's report tonight. So the first group I really want to highlight is today is not only Election Day, but Education Support Professionals Day. And I just put one section of the proclamation up on the screen. But really, if you think about the ecosystem of education, there are so many people that impact what happens with our kids, starting with the bus driver and the crossing guard that meets our kids in the morning, to what happens at lunch, to the instructional assistant, to the office staff, to the people that maintain our buildings, help them be clean, our maintenance department, many of our people in our financial services office. So I just want to do a huge shout out to our education support professionals who work on behalf of our kids each and every day. The second, and also I will say thank you to the union leaders of Edie Buchanan and Jeff Jabin. They really are advocates for their members to be sure that they are well cared for and in the right environment. So we really appreciate our partnership with Ask ESP as well. Next in your, let's do a shout out to Ask ESP. All right, next in is also the Native American Heritage Month proclamation. And I wanted to highlight a couple things. So first of all, we helped in partnership host an event on Saturday. We had about 250 to 300 people attend the event. The Chemawa drum group was there, a group of student performers. We had Native vendors there. Just a great event out at Chemawa Indian School. And a huge thank you to our Native Education Department who helped put that on. And if you could go on to the next slide. We had author James Bird discussed his book, The Brave, and answered audience questions. He got a photo with the audience, and he hopes to come to Oregon in the future and speak with students personally. So it's great for our kids to see models. And then we had Notorious Cree provide a motivational message, performed a traditional dance, included Native hip hop, crow hop, and hoop dance. And the evening culminated with a beautiful round dance led by James and a blessing, sending everyone off. So just a great event to celebrate culture, and really thrilled with 250 to 300 people that showed up. But it was beautiful. So, and then finally, two other highlights. What has been really great to see is the place-based curriculum that our local tribes are putting forward. So the state has done the tribal history, shared history curriculum, but both the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and the Siletz Indians have done great place-based curriculum that is related to where we live and the land that we are on. So it's all available on their websites. I just did screenshots. There's some great videos, and they also have some great elementary read-alouds that somebody reads in the videos as well. So they're really user-friendly for educators to use in classrooms as well. So those are your three proclamations tonight. And then from here, I'm going to pass it off to Director Hinojos Pressy to talk about the final slide.
So we're really excited to bring up just a little bit of a circle back about the Youth Zero Bus program that Chariots has launched in partnership with the school district and the city of Salem and city of Keizer. And, the idea behind this was to offer free bus fare for all of our youth here in Salem-Keizer. And as you can see, this has been immensely popular. Our ridership at Chariots has increased over 67%. So in September of 2021-22, there was about 29,000 rides. But in this year of September, there was over 50,000 rides. And so it's just another way that we're able to support our community in getting around, accessing the services that they need, getting to school, getting to the grocery store. And so just really excited to share that, and, always more to come in the future. Thank you.
Good job.
All right. I think with that, I'll turn it back to you.
Great, thank you. Okay, I believe that takes us to 6, which is public comment. It is 6:37. We will go for approximately 45 minutes. We've selected speakers at random. However, you may have noticed a new checkbox in the sign-up form to note if this is your first time providing public comment. To provide opportunity for new voices in our continuous effort to achieve equity during our public comment process, we've rotated those names to the front, followed by the remainder of the randomized list. We have public comment by call-in and Zoom. Each caller has 3 minutes. Electronic mechanisms are used for translation, so an additional 3 minutes for translation is no longer necessary. We have a countdown timer on screen for monitoring time. The timer counts down from 3 minutes, and at 30 seconds it turns from green to yellow, and at 1 second it turns red and plays a short bell to signal that time is up. Please be mindful of your pace for our interpreters. As a reminder, all board members receive the written comment, which is posted to the website. We have quite a few callers this evening, and if we aren't able to hear from you in the time that we've set aside for public comment this evening, we welcome you to provide your thoughts and feedback through email. I will now turn it over for our first caller to be pulled up.
Our first caller tonight is S. Johnson.
Great. S. Johnson, are you available?
*6 to unmute.
Hello?
Hi. Are you S. Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
I will not be saying my name or any other information because of white supremacy here in this meeting. My pronouns are he, him, and I am in 9th grade. First, I would like to talk about the search for the superintendent. I want y'all to pick someone who is committed to anti-racism because I believe our leadership should reflect its diverse student body, as well as should be willing to work to end the system of operations we face in schools, which disproportionately impact Black, Brown, Indigenous students of color, and those with disabilities or other marginalized identities. Second, I'd like for you to keep in mind keeping police out of schools. I want you all to know that I am one of a lot of youth in my community that are directly impacted by police and outside of schools. When I go to school and I see cops, I don't feel safe. Why can't I feel, and when I go to school, why does the school see me as a threat? I am not a threat to the school. I am just a student coming to learn. When people talk about bringing black cops into school, I see nothing but racism and how little they care about me. What I know is that instead of bringing back police, you all need to make sure the money is actually spent on helping students like me. When I'm in school, I need you to make sure there is funding for helping my mental health and emotional well-being. I believe that we need more counselors, psychiatrists, and education for staff and students. This will make me feel safer as I experience a lot of situations where I don't feel safe due to people not being educated in different mental health issues. I imagine my school being safe for all students.
Great. Thank you for being here. Next caller.
Our next caller is C. Johnson. *6 to unmute.
Hello, school board members and Superintendent Perry. Today I'm calling in during public comment to speak on a few points. I am a 10th grader in the Salem School District. I'd like to make clear a few points for this school board meeting. I would like to voice my support for police-free schools. Our schools and campuses must continue to remain police-free for the safety of our students. Their physical presence only increases the impact on the school to prison pipeline on Black, Indigenous students of color and perpetuates oppression on disabled and gay BIPOC youth. Remaining free and of police presence should be a priority to the school district as it is directly correlated with our youth feeling safe. You should hire a superintendent who prioritizes this. Speaking about superintendents, I want y'all to choose someone committed to keeping an anti-racist environment and who will prioritize safety for all students, especially those who are marginalized identities. This superintendent should create long-lasting changes for years and generations to come. It is time. Finally, I'd like to request that you provide adequate funding for students' mental health issues and resource and programs. I want to feel safe and healthy going to school, and I imagine a system where this is possible. Good mental health resources would really benefit us, the students, and would create a safer and more welcoming environment for all.
Great. Thank you. Next caller.
Next will be Tyler joining from Zoom.
Tyler?
Yes, hello.
Hello. Go ahead. Oh, you muted.
Yes, I was. Thank you. Good morning, board chairs, or good evening, I should say. Good board chairs, directors, and superintendent. I'm Tyler Skilla-Lakeberg, speaking as the president for the Salem-Keizer Education Association on behalf of our members. Last month, I stood before you stating that our hope was waning. However, after the board meeting, we did have district leaders leaning in more towards workload reliefs. We are pleased with this collaboration. However, there's still not enough. With this workload relief, while this workload relief will impact some, it still does not get to the root of our problem. I've said many times we are not responsible for all the problems facing public ed, nor can we fix them all. Society looks to schools as a source and a place to solve all of society's ills. This is not reasonable, manageable, or sustainable. But we can rewrite the narrative for Salem-Keizer schools. This means systemic change. We are asking for our district leaders, our school board, and families to work together with us to create the schools in which students and staff thrive. To do this, we must base decision-making on the needs of our staff directly serving students. Yes, we appreciate that there are more staff today than in recent past. However, many of these new hires come with emergency license, little experience, and have literally been thrown into the fray. They need support. Educators across the board are saying they need more. We need to listen to them. We need to recognize that student needs are much bigger than they have ever been. And we also need to be brave to admit that sometimes these students, their needs exceed our resources and expertise. We believe all students deserve an education. However, we are not equipped to serve all students to the best of their needs. Some students may need different placements apart from traditional education settings. When educators say they need help, we need to provide support and not say collect more data. Salem-Keizer Education Association will be demanding change this year. Smaller class sizes, smaller caseloads, utilizing or creating alternative placements for students who need it, and more educator-directed time. It is about time that our educators' needs are heard and met. We have a slogan in our union, together we are stronger, and together we could bring about change. As the second largest district in Oregon, I am asking our district leaders to partner with us as we rewrite the narrative for our schools. Let's create a model that the rest of Oregon and even the nation can look to, a model that focuses on what majority of learning happens, the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tyler. Next caller.
Our next caller is Belle.
Go ahead, Belle.
Hello.
Hi, we can
Hello.
hear you.
My name is Belle. My pronouns are she, her, and I will not be saying any more information about myself because there are white supremacists watching this meeting. I feel scared at school board meetings because of the violence from white supremacists, and I'm scared to show my face because these individuals could dox me and find out personal information like my school or age. At the last in-person school board meeting, I had to hide myself behind umbrellas because of a white supremacist trying to take a picture of me. There's so much intimidation that happens for youth of color like me who just try to tell the school board about the experiences that we go through. I feel like my experiences don't matter to you guys because you guys are used to seeing students of color like me fall through the cracks. Every time I call to speak, I am just another student of color with the same experience of being policed in my school and not given any resources to succeed. You see us all the same and all of us as not important. I say this because I want a new superintendent who cares about our feelings as students of color, as BIPOC youth. I think the new superintendent has a responsibility to uplift our experiences and make sure that we feel safe when we come to speak about them. After I do a testimony, I feel overwhelmed because I know that so many people are listening to me and that I know that talking at these school board meetings could put me in danger. But even though I take this risk, the superintendent and school board really just say a lot of words without any actions. Recently, Danielle Bethel resigned from the school board. She wasn't actually at a lot of those meetings, and when she was very homophobic, transphobic, and racist. I think her replacement should be the opposite of this. I think the person that fills her spot should prioritize the experiences and needs of actual students that attend Salem-Keizer schools over anything else. As a low-income student of color, I want cops to stay out of our schools. I want the full amount of the SRO contract reinvested into mental health resources. I want academic support for students with similar backgrounds as mine. As a low-income student of color, I do not have parents at home that could help me with my homework. My family can't pay for a tutor, and I do not currently have someone in my school that can support me with my homework. The only reason why I'm able to pass my classes this semester is because I am lucky enough to receive free tutoring from the LOOS program. However, not all students like me have this opportunity. So the next superintendent and school board members should be listening to what I have to say and what other students of color have to say as well. We are the reason why you were all in your positions in the first place.
Thank you, Belle. Next caller.
Our next caller is Yuvia.
Go ahead.
*6 to unmute.
Hi, I will not be saying my name or any other information because of the white supremacy here in this meeting. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm in the 10th grade in Salem-Keizer Public School. I would like to start off by saying that I imagine a school where I feel safe and welcome every day. I imagine a place where I can come for support and have access to resources I don't have outside of school. I imagine a system that would help students be healthy, happy, so we can thrive outside of school. Next, I would like to talk about the search for a superintendent. This is necessary for the schools, I imagine. Y'all need to hire someone who is committed to anti-racism because not only should our leadership reflect its diverse student body, but it should support and uplift us as well. They should also be willing to work to end the system of oppression we face in schools, which disproportionately impact Black, Brown, and Indigenous students of color, and those with disabilities and other marginalized identities and abilities. Finally, I'd like for you to keep in mind that we want police to stay out of schools. A lot of my peers, including me, are directly impacted by police in and outside of school. I don't feel safe when I see cops, especially not in my school. I worry for my safety and that of my peers. Bringing police back to schools will show us, your youth, that you view us as threats rather than as your students. Instead of bringing back police, you should focus on creating a school system like the one I imagine, one that helps students like me. I need you and our new superintendent to make sure there is funding for helping my mental health and emotional well-being and that of my peers. We need more counselors, psychiatrists, and education for staff and students.
Thank you for being here tonight. Next caller.
Our next caller is Angelique.
Go ahead, Angelique.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, my name is Angelique. My pronouns are they, them, and I will not be saying any more information about myself due to the fact that there are white supremacists on this school board and watching this meeting. I'm happy to see that Danielle Bethel resigned from the school board and that she will soon have a replacement. If you remember my testimony from August, she personally helped white supremacists in the city dox me and harass me. She caused a lot of harm to youth in this district through her transphobic and homophobic rhetoric, so it is about time that she left. It's Native American Heritage Month, and I want to make sure that her replacement is the exact opposite of what she embodied. The new school board member needs to prioritize equity and anti-racism. They need to prioritize the youth, especially the BIPOC youth in this district. They need to listen to the experiences of the youth who walk in the halls of Salem-Keizer schools every single day. They need to uplift all of the identities of these youth, and they need to have a strong commitment to queer and transgender youth. This is the same for the new superintendent, who needs to have a true dedication to anti-racist work. Youth are currently reimagining what they want their schools to look like. They do not want their learning environments to feel like prisons, where they are constantly policed for every single aspect of their identity. The youth want the full reinvestment of the $1 million from the SRO contract to happen. They want killer cops to stay out of their schools. They want to be able to show up to these meetings without fear that white supremacists in person and online will dox and harass them. They want to be uplifted in their schools and supported in the various struggles they experience. They want the opportunity to thrive and achieve their dreams. BIPOC youth cannot achieve the same things as their white counterparts if they are placed on the school to prison and deportation pipeline simply for how they look and their life circumstances. We need commitments from the new school board member of Zone 6 and the new superintendent to end this pipeline in all forms. They need to constantly be working to abolish all aspects of it. First and foremost, by promising that killer cops will never be put back in SKSD, reinvesting all of the leftover money from the contract, and by listening to any future demands made by the youth. The new school board member and superintendent need to work to abolish the oppression perpetuated by the current school board members, Marty Hayan and Satya Chandragiri, who are white supremacists and actively uphold white supremacy in this district. Additionally, the new school board member and superintendent need to give credit to the youth in this district who have been organizing to improve their schools for years. Many of the changes that have happened recently, such as the focus on mental health resources, are as a result of youth advocacy and not just from the superintendent or school board members. Again, I just want to take the time to restate the loose demands which are created by BIPOC youth in this district. Number 1, an anti-racist superintendent. Number 2, equitable funding. And number 3, police-free schools.
Thank you, Angelique. Next caller.
Our next caller is Christian.
Go ahead, Christian.
Hi, I'm a student in the Salem-Keizer School District. I'm here to talk about how all of you need to keep police out of schools. I want you all to know that I am one of a lot of you in my community that are directly impacted by police and outside of schools. When I go to school and I see cops, I don't feel safe. Why can't I feel when I go to school safe when I go to school? Why does the school see me as a threat? I'm not a threat to the school. I'm just a student come to learn. When people talk about bringing back cops into schools, I see nothing but racism and how little they care about me. what I know is that instead of bringing back police, you all need to make sure that money is actually spent on helping students like me when I'm in school. I need you to make sure there's funding for helping my mental health and emotional well-being. I believe that we need more counselors and especially counselors and I don't know, but that are people of color so that they actually understand where I'm coming from. I also believe that we need more teachers of color because I don't have someone who is teaching me that looks like me.
Thank you, Christian.
Our next caller is Maricela.
Maricela, go ahead when you're ready.
Sí, buenas tardes. Buenas tardes, miembros de la mesa directiva escolar y superintendente Perry. Mi nombre es Maricela Lagos y soy la coordinadora del grupo de liderazgo de padres y madres de la Coalición para la Igualdad de Salem-Keizer. Los padres de la Coalición para la Igualdad de Salem-Keizer han estado aquí constantemente durante 22 años, ayudando a nuestro distrito escolar a mejorar la lectura, la escritura y la matemática de nuestros niños para que se puedan graduar listos y listas para ir a la universidad. Las tres principales razones por las que se creó el sistema de educación pública en nuestra nación hace ya muchas décadas atrás. Esta noche, todas las mamás y papás del grupo de liderazgo de la coalición queremos rendir homenaje y nuestro respeto a las mamás y los papás nativos americanos. Ellas y ellos han trabajado en estrecha colaboración con los maestros y asistentes de maestros para asegurarse que sus 1,800 estudiantes estén siendo debidamente ayudados a superar los obstáculos para obtener el éxito académico y graduarse de las escuelas secundarias listos para ir a la universidad. Ese es el desafío principal con el que todas las madres y padres de nuestras comunidades de color luchamos todos los días para alentar e inspirar a nuestros niños y jóvenes a trabajar duro para que ellos y ellas utilicen su propio poder para sobresalir hasta graduarse de la escuela secundaria y lograr vidas productivas lejos de la tubería de las escuelas a la prisión. Todo nuestro amor, humildad y apoyo van a la comunidad nativa americana en Salem-Keizer y en todo el Valle de Willamette, representada por los Calapuyas y los Molalas. Su presencia sigue viva en esta región bajo las tribus confederadas de Grand Ronde. Gracias, comunidad nativa americana, por permitirnos vivir en sus tierras ancestrales. Gracias.
Thank you. Thanks, Maricela. Next caller.
Our next caller is Monse.
Hola, mi nombre es Monte, estoy en el grado 9 del distrito escolar. Necesita ayuda a los estudiantes a aprender de manera que sean útiles. Para nosotros como estudiantes de BIPOC, porque todos aprenden de manera diferente y todos deben tener la oportunidad de comprender el material y comprender lo que se les enseña. Las escuelas deben adaptarse para que sean accesibles para todos los estudiantes. También necesitamos más personas y maestros de BIPOC para entender por lo que pasamos nuestro idioma y nuestra experiencia y nuestra cultura. Todos ustedes, salud. Todos ustedes necesitan abogar por la salud mental de los jóvenes BIPOC. Necesitamos más apoyo de salud mental porque vamos a la escuela todos los días y pasamos más tiempo en la escuela que en la casa. Hay más de 40 millones de estudiantes en el distrito y solo 13 psicólogos, incluyendo menos hay 4 psicólogos bilingües. Esto me enoja mucho, el hecho de que tenemos más estudiantes que psicólogos consejeros no está bien.
Thank you for being here. Next caller.
Our next caller will be joining by Zoom, Hunter. Hunter, it looks like your microphone is not connected. There we go. Hunter, once you can unmute and turn on your camera.
Go ahead, Hunter. We can see you now.
All right, thank you very much. This is Hunter Newton. I'm a parent in Salem-Keizer. And for the Zone 6 school board seat, I would recommend Ross Zeismer. Now my next challenge is this incident from October 26th that I've been involved with sports in this community for over 10 years, including SFOA officials. They have been very integral in athletics from the high school level down to the youth level. And for Mr. Avila to actually approach and put a hand on a official at a football game and then try and utilize his position as a school board member to, try and bully these officials. All I can say is he needs to resign his position. This is unacceptable. He needs to be a leader for this community, not someone who is willing to literally assault an official. Whether he believes it was a friendly conversation or not, that means nothing. The fact is he approached, he put a hand on. That is something you do not do. He is risking every bit of athletics in this school district, every bit of athletics in the youth level. All I can say, I mean, this is a massive thing. And if they try and give him a slap on the wrist at the end of the day, I could see officials boycotting events, especially for Salem-Keizer. I could see massive problems shutting this thing down. He has put athletics in this state at risk with his actions and his bully pulpit. So I am requesting his resignation. I think that the school board, the superintendent, and any teachers that care about athletics or the music need to demand the same thing. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here, Hunter. Next caller.
Our next caller is Roberto. Roberto, are you able to unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, Roberto.
All right. My name is Roberto, and my pronouns are he, him, and I will not say any more information due to the fact that there are white supremacists here on this board and listening into this meeting. First and foremost, I'd like to make sure that this school board is listening to the youth, who are the ones that attend and have to survive on a daily basis in Salem-Keizer schools. This is especially relevant during your search for a new superintendent and most luckily, a new Zone 6 school board member. You all need to listen to students when they demand that the new superintendent not only have the best interest, not just for all students, but especially for BIPOC students and students of marginalized identities. The new superintendent and new Zone 6 school board member should be, at the very least, aware of the historical and ongoing oppression of students of color, trans youth, non-binary youth, and gender non-conforming youth. You cannot allow transphobic, homophobic, xenophobic, racist, classist, ableist, ageist people a platform as importantly as a school board member, and there's no excuse to allow that to continue here in Salem-Keizer. The new superintendent and new Zone 6 school board member must be at the very least anti-racist and must do work that dismantles white supremacy in Salem-Keizer School District. I know that the term anti-racist is a scary word for specific people in this audience, but it pales in comparison of what terror students of color and youth of marginalized identities face on a day-to-day basis. Students and youth deserve a new superintendent and new Zone 6 school board member that is not going to only uplift BIPOC and marginalized voices, but has experience in and will actively dismantle systems of oppression such as surveillance and policing. Speaking of policing, it is horrifying to me that this school board will even entertain the idea of a conversation to bring back SROs. Cops are nothing but agents of oppression and cannot be reintroduced into the school district. People in this district would rather see the return of SROs than concrete investments made into the physical and mental health of students, which is disgusting to say the very least. It is anti-Indigenous and anti-Native for you to consider talking about SROs. What the school board needs to do is to continue the funding for all equity and mental health programs, such as counselors and especially counselors of color, psychiatrists and psychiatrists of colors, teachers of color, and teachers that are culturally competent, and a mental health room alongside an on-site health clinic. All of these demands would be uplifting Native and Indigenous voices. These are not unrealistic demands. On the contrary, these are demands put forth by BIPOC youth and students of marginalized identities. The community will always support the youth, and it is your job to listen to the youth. So do your job. From this point forth, I will restate the loose demands which are created by BIPOC youth and marginalized youth in this district. Anti-racist superintendent.
Thank you, Roberto. Next caller.
Our next caller is Marilyn. She will be joining by Zoom.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Chairperson Carson Cottingham, Vice Chairs, Directors, and Superintendent Perry. My name is Marilyn Ellis. I'm the SKEA Vice President. My comments tonight will address the allocation of resources and school safety. I stood before you last month and described the lack of protocols in place when staff members are injured on the job, especially when they are injured by students. I explained that we had been asking for a year for a protocol that would allow for assessment and treatment of injuries, the opportunity to leave to receive treatment if needed, time to complete an injury report form, and follow-up investigation. We also asked for a review of whether a behavior plan is in place or needs to be adjusted. Following my comments at the last meeting, the district presented an initial plan that did not address the above steps. They have since refined the plan, but cannot guarantee that time will be provided to the injured staff member at the time of the injury, nor that a behavior plan evaluation would be considered. They explained that staffing does not allow for this. SKEA contends that safety should be our #1 priority for every person in our schools. This applies to students and staff. If staffing doesn't allow time to provide an injury protocol, then we have a problem in how resources and staff are allocated. The district may explain to you that they have contracted with a new company to provide training for aggressive and violent student behavior. When visiting recently with a teacher, I was surprised to learn that one selling point for the new training is that the bite guards are thicker. You may not be aware, but many of our staff are provided bite guards, which function like a sleeve over the arm to prevent bites from breaking the skin. The new bite guards are significantly thicker than the previous ones. However, this does nothing to address the root cause of the behavior and does not result in functional change for the student. Please ask our district leaders about student-caused injuries. Ask to see photos of the bruising, cuts, and bites. Ask to see what a classroom looks like after an out-of-control student has dismantled everything. Ask how many room clears occur on a daily or weekly basis. And if they share data about reported injuries, multiply it by 2. Our recent polling indicates that staff only complete an injury report form about half of the time because they don't believe it will result in any helpful action and may actually be held against them during their evaluation. Our teachers and support staff need help. We are in need of a system overhaul, not thicker bite guards. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller. Thank you. Next caller.
Our next caller is Cassidy.
Go ahead, Cassidy.
Hello, Chair Carson Cottingham, Superintendent Perry, and Board Directors. I'd like to start off by supporting Ross Ziesmer for the open board seat. I think that he'd be great in that position. I also would like to show support for the Educator Support Professionals Day proclamation. These people are extremely important in the everyday, of our children's lives. They see them all the time, and our children, really look up to these people. I'd also like to address Tyler and the teachers unions who have been speaking tonight. I really appreciate you guys coming out. We've been talking about these issues, parents at these meetings for over a year now. We've had kids in the district who have been faced with these issues, and I'm glad to see that the teachers are finally starting to speak up with their concerns. Um, Also, I would like to say to address the issue with Director Avila and his behaviors towards the sports officials on October 26th in Eugene. These actions are 100% unacceptable. Our board directors are supposed to be representing our district, and for a director to put his hands on an official because he didn't like the way that a game was being called is just completely unacceptable. It really is putting youth sports at risk. You know, we already are in a referee shortage. My son plays youth football. We've had to have games canceled and rescheduled because there's not enough refs because of the behavior on the field, not just from the fans and the coaches, but also from the players on the field. And so showing these children how we should behave and treat others in our community is vital. And your behavior as a board director really puts our sports at risk. So I would at least hope that you would come out with an apology for your behaviors and at most step down in your position. I'd also like to address the claims of one commenter about having to hide behind umbrellas at the last in-person board meeting. I was at that board meeting, and that is absolutely ridiculous. There were people standing in front of the doors trying to block us from coming in with umbrellas. They were not hiding behind them. They were trying to block parents from coming in the building. So we really need to stop, just spreading these lies. People need to start seeing what's happening and become involved in your schools, really pay attention. I would also like to find out if we know those schools that are having those piloting programs, if those are listed somewhere for the body shop. Thank you.
Thanks, Cassidy. Next caller.
Our last caller tonight is Abigail.
Go ahead, Abigail, when you're ready.
Hola, gracias. Chairperson Cottingham y también la superintendent. Mi nombre es...
We really can't hear you very well, Abigail.
Quería recomendar a Ross Sizemore. Lo siento, un momento, por favor.
Abigail, we can barely hear you. Is there a way to talk into your phone a little more?
Sí. Hola. Yep. Gracias. Mi nombre es Abigail y soy madre de 3 hijos.
My name is Abigail. I am the mother of 3 in Salem-Keizer. I would like to recommend Ralph Zeigemer or Mark for the board of Salem-Keizer. I have one question for you. Why do we have books in our libraries that are graphic about sexual acts? Why do we have these books such as the Genderqueer and Slamer, and why does the superintendent say in conferences with workers that they have to use works such as drag show? Those are no works for children. They're very graphic as to sex. This is not material for young children and the youth. I am very sorry that we're showing these in our schools. I am ashamed of these and I am embarrassed by by the superintendent. We parents don't bring our children to school to learn inappropriate stuff. They are there to learn math, reading, writing, but this last year in the board of Salem-Keizer don't want to work on academic stuff. You're focused on political matters. When our children are at school, mothers and fathers feel the schools are there to also take care of the security of students. The contracts with the police officers have been terminated, and now the students are not longer safe. Now schools are teaching children that they cannot be, we apologize from the interpretation booth, the sound quality isn't satisfactory. I want to say that we're not victims. We're people that can speak and that have their own voice. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. That concludes public comment. I believe we got through every person who wanted to participate tonight. So thank you so much for coming to our meeting. I will now call a brief recess, 5 minutes. Let's be back at 7:21. Thank you.
5-minute warning. 30-second warning.
Great, welcome back. We're now on number 7, action items. Tonight, we're voting to appoint a new director to fill Zone 6 following the resignation of Daniel Bethel. On November 3rd, we held a special board meeting for the purpose of interviewing the 10 candidates. Information on the process is included in the board packet. The 10 candidates are as follows, and I believe that most of them have joined us online this evening via Zoom. Clifford goes by Bob Bemrose, Julianne Jackson, Mark Lidkey, Sue Myers, Rebecca Ramirez, Thais Brando Roddick, Anthony Rosile, Stephanie Russell, Robert Salazar, and Ross Zeisimer. At this point, we will begin voting. In order to be appointed, a candidate must receive a majority vote of the board, not a majority of board members present, which means a candidate needs 4 votes for appointment. Board members have 6 rounds of ballots in front of them. When asked, board members will mark their ballots, sign their ballots, and pass their ballots down to Rebecca Jacobson, attorney for the district, who will facilitate the voting process. And so now I will turn things over to Rebecca.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So what you should be looking for is your round 1 blue ballot. You will use that to vote for one candidate, and as Chair Carson Cottingham mentioned, as soon as you have voted, just pass them down this way, and I will then state the votes. Okay, Director Chandagiri voted for Mr. Sizemore. Director Avila voted for Robert Salazar. Director Guzman Ortiz voted for Mr. Salazar. Chair Carson Cottingham voted for Mr. Salazar. Director Hinojos Presi voted for Mr. Salazar. As there are 4 votes for Mr. Salazar, he is the candidate that is appointed, and we do not need to do any further rounds of voting.
Great, thank you. Thank you again to all of our candidates for applying for this important role. We really appreciate your time and interest in the district, and we hope you stay engaged. We can now administer the oath if Mr. Salazar wants to turn on his camera. Are you there, Robert Salazar?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Are you able to turn your camera on so we can do the swearing in? Okay,
Not at the time.
yeah, we can see you. We can see you.
Okay.
There you are.
Okay, there I am.
Okay, great.
It was a better looking person there before you. My wife.
Okay, great. Do I have him raise his hand, Rebecca? Yes. Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Robert Salazar,
I, Robert Salazar,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the State of Oregon,
of the State of Oregon,
and the policies
and the policies
of Salem-Keizer School District.
of Salem-Keizer School District.
During my term,
During my term,
I will faithfully
I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the responsibilities
discharge the responsibilities
of the office
of the office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations and welcome to the school board.
Thank you. And I just want to say it'll be a real honor for me to serve with the people on the board at this time. Thank you.
Wonderful.
And so he should probably keep your camera on, but go ahead and mute, and then he can vote on anything. Or if you don't feel comfortable voting, you could also just abstain from a vote at this point.
I would like to abstain because on what the topics might be, I may not be in depth and have the knowledge that would be necessary to make an accurate vote at this time.
That's totally understandable, but we're happy to have you join and be present here for the rest of the meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, the next agenda item is 7B, and this is to approve the superintendent hiring process and standards. And so we did the first reading back on October 11th after our meeting with Hank and Kathleen. And so hopefully everyone's had a chance to look it over again, the process that we've laid out. And with that, I would take a motion. Okay, great. Director Chandra Gary has moved. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Director Avila has seconded. And is there discussion? Okay, seeing none?
I'll just say,
Okay, go ahead.
no, I really appreciate the work that Human Capital Enterprise has done to capture everybody's voices and needs. And I think we were able to embody some of the community needs in this as well. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other comment? Okay, I'll call for a vote then. All those in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, great. Passes. And I'm going to pull up this other piece of paper. Okay, that takes us to the consent calendar. Let's see. First, is there, Superintendent Perry, do you wish to review any items?
I do not. We had a slight change in a personnel action that we updated on the website, so your personnel action on the website is correct. And then I said 3 proclamations, and there's only 2. So that was on me.
Great. And so with that, I would take a motion.
I move that we approve the consent calendar.
I will second that motion.
Great. And all in favor of approving the consent calendar?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. Next, and I just do want to highlight the importance of Native American Heritage Month. Incredible work the district is doing. Huge shout out to the team, as the superintendent mentioned. And also a huge thank you to our support professionals and that proclamation. I know we all on the board support you and care so much about what you do every day, and want to honor you and thank you for that work. Go ahead. Yes, absolutely.
I really appreciate the president of the Native Parents Committee.
Director Chandra-Giri, put your mic
Sorry,
down.
President of the Native Parents Committee, President Alondra Kessinger, who has taken a lead, and I think we really have to work towards expanding the curriculum, and I see there are some positive steps taking place in that direction. So thank you for bringing some of these important issues. Going through the dashboard and this numbers, there is quite a lot of children probably who perhaps signed up and they became eligible, because in the dashboard it's not like 1,800, it's far less. And every year, what I understand in that committee is they have to fill out a form. I forget the name of the form in order to be included. So I would really urge everybody to really fill out the form and make sure that we have a better understanding so that we can really focus and target all the tribes and find a way to reach every community, every tribe, and be authentically creating space for them. So that is one feedback I just wanted to give. Even though in Oregon we may have few tribes, but there are students and children from different tribes who come to our schools, and they have to fill that form, I was told, in order to be counted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for raising that important issue.
I'd just like
Avila.
to clarify, thank you. I'd just like to clarify that we have 9 federally recognized tribes in Oregon, and then we have other tribes and other people from other states, from different tribes that are not federally recognized either from here in Oregon, but they could be recognized in their state and other countries as well.
Thank you. Okay, so next is our readings and discussion. I will turn it over to Superintendent Perry on the property purchase for CTE Aviation Program expansion.
All right, this is a first reading on a property purchase, and I'm going to have Dr. Udosinata go ahead and pull up the slides. I thought rather than focusing only on the property purchase, I'll do a very quick overview of the CTEC expansion. And I, in an interest of time, want to be sure I go quickly because you have another reading on this. Also on tonight is Rhonda Rhodes, our principal at CTEC, in case there's a couple specific questions that I can't answer and she can answer for us. So the reason we're looking at this property purchase is around a growing need around how do we recruit and retain kids in the drones program. So we're moving on to expanding that program, but I just want to center us on here's what we already do. 10 programs, 1,000 student capacity, and what we're most proud of is that our demographics mirror the students in our school district, and they represent every single high school in Salem that come to CTEC. About 15% of our students receive support for because they have some sort of a disability. I have a great story that I just have to share about a new student that we got that I don't have quite the specifics, but it required a modification of some equipment so they could use it because they were wheelchair bound, and before the student entered, the metals or the woodshop teacher had already modified some of the equipment in the space. So that's the kind of culture that's created out there, that every student belongs in this space. The graduation results we know are strong. Graduation rates between 98 and 100%, and we have 92% positive placement at CTEC, which means after high school they go to skilled workforce, trade or apprenticeship, community college, four-year university, or in the military. We count all of those as positive placement, and we do a pretty good survey mechanism to get as much information we can. We have a pretty high rate. Of course, it's not close to 100%, but we try to track positive placement for our students. The drones and aviation program, we'd like to expand that program and to have it be housed out at the Salem Municipal Airport. We think this aligns with the goals of the city to expand commercial air service there, but the current employee pipeline and training for pilots are only meeting an estimated 30% of the industry need to keep aviation staffed at prior service levels, and the staff shortages mean that people are struggling to operate on planned schedules, which we've probably all seen stories or experienced it personally. So that's the rationale for thinking about how do we expand. The vision is to provide students with hands-on opportunity to become fully immersed in the aviation industry with a high-tech, cutting-edge C-Tech program located at the airport. On-site activities include shadowing in the control camera. They're not going to be flying airplanes. I already said that was a non-starter. Assisting with fueling and hospitality, engaging in search and rescue, flying in the simulator, and experience the aviation mechanic shop. We are already, you can see some of the career exploration, hands-on learning, transferable skills, and they also have the ability to get the FAA Part 107, which is the commercial drone pilot license, and the FAA Part 61 is a private airplane pilot license. They can do what they call the ground school portion, which they have to pass before they enter any flying. And usually, I think that test you have to be 18 to pass, if not 21, to get that certification. We want to bolster recruitment and expand opportunities beyond our current drone offerings and fill a much-needed workforce shortage in aviation aerospace. And then create space within our own current C-Tech building to think about what other might be. And we've talked a lot, and we're beginning to really think about, is there a pathway to mental health providers? We know that's a huge need. We know we have the students in our schools and that look like our kids, and could really, if they're thinking about that trajectory. So we're in the very early stages of that, because remember, we're also in the integrated guidance planning process for next year. But that's one thought we've talked about. So the overview of the property is, the asking price is $1.875. It was appraised at $1.865 million, and that we've agreed upon a purchase price with the seller for $1.825 million. It's a 16,590 square foot building. It's $110 per square foot approximately. It's located on the McNary Field near 25th and Madrona, and the space configuration is fairly compatible with the proposed use, although we do have some continued work that we need to do with the city around permitting. This is the current floor plan. There would be some work that would need to be done. And the other thing we also have to really work on is what's kind of the parking arrangements and all of that out there, because there is some parking issues. So our initial research on the proposed location, it's equipped with a full sprinkler. It's zoned to permit for K-12 education. Parking is still a variable. We currently need about 45 spots for staff and students, and we need to try to get to 50 for permitting. And we are been in the due diligence process for a little bit of time, and the fire alarm system may still need some expansion in order to be house students in the facility. So our estimated costs for renovations are between $1 and $1.5 million. We also still need to address a land lease. We currently, at the airport, the city is the property owner, and all of those sites out there have a land lease. Currently, the land lease ends in 2038, and we'll be working with the city to see if we can expand that before purchase to 2048. I wouldn't want us to purchase a property that isn't have a long time. We'll also need to really think about some bathroom spacing things in that upgrade. We have some perceived challenges around staffing, but we've kind of worked those through. The net additional FTE that we would need to move this program is one additional licensed educator. And we have some in our high school success funds for rollover, and this has been permitted as an allowable purchasing expense for high school success dollars. We've begun to work on what is transportation, what is food service, and then we do need support staff on site, and currently we have a CTE department that's at CTEC that we would move out there so we didn't have any additional administrative overhead. And they can work out of either place. We've had some initial partner conversations and stakeholder. Of course, the city's interested because they really want to revitalize the airport. But we have the mayor and city manager. Alaska Airlines is really interested. And it's a slow on the slide. It's just the system sometimes doesn't move it. Alaska Airlines and an Ascend partnership, which can offer about $27,000 worth of additional training to students to pursue piloting and aircraft maintenance careers out of CTEC. The airport businesses out there are excited: Flight Wings, Salem Air Center, Garmin, Craze Pilots. And we're every place we look, we've got people at the table. Alaska Airlines showed up to our industry partner initial engagement to really give feedback to what was appropriate curriculum, which is kind of exciting. And they're talking about how can we get your kids, if they get through this, into their organization. So our summary is we'll provide CTEC experiences for more Salem-Keizer students. We will relocate the drone technology program out there. We'll strengthen partnerships in the public and private sectors while reducing workforce shortages, and we'll create pathways and aviations for our underrepresented demographics. So that is the project. This is only a first reading tonight. And then if there's questions, again, I've got Rhonda on the line, or we could collect questions and also save them for next time because you have another opportunity to vote on this. So I'll do either one for you. I'll let you choose that.
It looks like our student advisor has
She's
a
ready.
question.
So my question is, if we did go through with the buying the new building and relocating the drone program, what would go in the old location for the drone program?
We're still in decisions around that. One thing we've talked about is some sort of mental health pathway. The other thing that comes up now and then is some sort of an HVAC program. But we're in the middle of this needs assessment process, so we're going to kind of hold on that, and if we go this direction, and just begin our due diligence on what's the next program.
Great. Director Chandragiri.
Chair, thank you. Thank you, Superintendent. I think this is exciting, folks. I really think if we build, they will come. And this is the way to really practice equity and help close the generational opportunity gap that a lot of our children from vulnerable communities have experienced. We really need to start thinking in terms of high opportunity, high paying jobs so that they can not only be in the field, cutting edge field. When a starting salary is between $80,000 to $120,000 is what a person would get. In the same spot, the students from Independence built a plane. They have a program. They literally built a plane which is flying. So I really think we need to be there. And with the CTEC model, once we have almost like 100% of our students are graduating, I really think this will create an interesting pipeline of opportunities for a lot of children to start aiming and dreaming high, and really lift themselves out of generations of difficulty, etc., and start thinking in terms of science, technology. There are so many fringe benefits that comes with program like this. They'll start thinking in terms of what can they do, and it'll become an interesting way to look at it. Pendleton has a very good, interesting program. It's very sought after. So I really feel hopeful that once we create this, and aviation or aeronautic engineering or space, these are the kind of ways in which our children can be excited. and they'll all show up. So my hope is this opportunity will inspire a lot of people from different communities, including minority communities or diverse communities, to seek this and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Second Vice Chair Guzman Ortiz.
Thank you. Two quick questions. First is, would this essentially, assuming that the property was the building was acquired, would it launch in 2023, or are we looking at a little bit further down? And then second question, if I may, is I'd love to think that if we provide it, students will come in droves, but kind of curious if, how are we getting, or if there's been a process to kind of get that buy-in, just to kind of build that excitement, and so that we do have a pool of interested applicants.
All right, so our principal's on the line. I'm going to have her turn her camera on to answer the question about how do we know this is going to be a program that's going to be of interest to kids. And then, but the first question is, we would start in the fall of 23. So in the 23-24 school year would be the start time. All right, Principal Rhodes.
Sure. We've had a lot of feedback from students already. So every student who comes to CTEC completes a career plan. And we've had a lot of students who are interested in aviation careers. A lot of students are interested in piloting. That's an exciting career. And currently students are under the belief that the only path to that career passes through the military. And that does not need to be the case. So students do not need to go to the military in order to become a pilot, a private pilot, or an airline pilot. But that currently feels like the only path available to them because there aren't resources. As the director said, there are access and opportunity gaps to this career field. And this is life-changing money, $80,000 to $100,000 in salary. So what we're looking to do based on the feedback that we've received from our students, not only from our drones program, but from other programs, is to open the doors to both piloting and aircraft mechanics and aircraft maintenance. So the students have the option to receive certifications for free while they're still in high school, take advantage of the $27,000 each that the Ascend program and Alaska Airways are willing to bring to the table for their further education. And then just give them the chance to explore these high-wage careers. We have a lot of students who go into the Air Force. We have other students that decide that piloting or aircraft maintenance is off the table for them because for whatever reason, the military route isn't in their future. And so we're just looking to open those doors and then at the same time fulfill the workforce shortages. And in this sector, 2/3 of the employees in the aviation sector are older than 40 years old. So the workforce shortages we're seeing now are nothing compared to what's coming in the next decade or two if we don't create these opportunities for our students. We also have only, depending on the study, you look at 3 to 10% of pilots that are female. And we have about 90% of all of our pilots are white. And so we definitely have an access and opportunity gap, and we need to show students that this path is for them if it's their passion, regardless of their background and regardless of their income level. So that's what we're hoping to do with this program.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Principal Rhodes. All right, so we will have another opportunity to discuss, ask questions of the district, and then we can discuss this again for the second reading. Oh, Director Chandragiri, do you have something to add?
One of the slides that Superintendent you showed was that, nearly majority of the students who are currently using CTEC are from the Hispanic community, about 37% or so. And I visited this CTEC program, the drone program. It's a very diverse group of students who come from all high schools in this thing. So it's a very exciting, close to what 42% or 56% of our high school students are using the CTEC program. The second thing is there is inequity in space and aeronautical engineering currently, and it's not going to be easy for us to close that gap. This is not only in US, but in other countries as well. When the India Space Research Program, the Mars module actually had majority women engineers on that. So just by creating that opportunity and becoming a model for others, more and more girls are entering into this field. So I really think this is a way for us to start essentially enticing students to start imagining this possibility. So I really want to say applaud the district for even presenting such a cutting-edge opportunity in the public domain and letting people start thinking of these things. The investment, return on investment is going to be amazing, and for generations we'll make a change. So even though the sticker price may look like a big one, this is nothing compared to the return on investment we'll get from changing the direction of some of our community's generational story. So please, I would urge my fellow board directors to look at the long-term benefit that something like this will bring.
Thank you. Okay. With that, send questions that you might have after tonight to the district, and we'll be ready to talk about it again in December. Next is item 9B, the Oregon School Boards Association legislative policies and principles. We will ask for a vote in December, so this is also a first reading of the legislative policies and principles. Both myself and First Vice Chair Nohos Pressy sit on this committee. We have a meeting this week during the conference, so please take a look at the policies and principles that have been laid out through the work of our committee on the Oregon School Boards Association.
So can I ask a question, since we have two representatives here?
Yes, you may. Director Shanjagiri.
In this legislative priorities, would you consider bringing up an amendment or adding on digital equity as one other topic? Because moving forward, not just access to device, but so that digital equity in terms of using or even creating content, and in the computer sciences as in particular for our students. Because there are 11 states in the nation where not even one black student is in the computer sciences AP/IB program. There are only 3 states in the nation which really requires by law to provide computer sciences in high school as an AP program or IB program or similar one: Arkansas, Texas, and West Virginia. So would you consider something like that, where computer sciences and closing the digital equity could be one of the priorities for our state, so that our children can also start thinking in terms of the jobs of the future?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Thank you. Any other comments? We'll have another reading and adopt the policies and priorities in December again on this. All right. Next up is 10 information and standard reports. Superintendent, anything you wish to highlight?
No, I highlighted the SIA annual monitoring report already, and just a reminder, no meeting on the week of Thanksgiving on Tuesday, but you do have a meeting on the 30th, that next Wednesday, where you will have gotten the feedback on the superintendent criteria, and you'll vote on it at that time. So just a couple reminders on your calendar.
Okay, great.
Is that an all-day meeting from morning till evening, or is it just an evening meeting?
That was just an evening meeting.
Thank God.
And hopefully we do have it blocked on calendars. I think we do. From 6 to 8 should be, I think. Okay, great. Okay, let's do rapid fire board reports, and we'll just go down the line. Director Shanjagiri.
Well, thank you very much. The two things are very noteworthy, which I want to share. One, we had a very good engagement meeting with Pacific Islander community, and got to sit in the committee, the Chukis community meeting, and And we are blessed to have their head of the Department of Education from that community in Chuki State. The Federation of Micronesia was also present. So, and the feedback we received is they really appreciated that meeting, and very nice email that was sent to Superintendent Perry and Director Richardson. The second important thing is I want to thank our advisor, Raylan, for inviting me to sit. And I wish I had spent more time, but I had to go to another event. I stayed till almost like 1:30 in the speech and debate. It's a wonderful opportunity for me to kind of listen to things. I wish all of us get trained on that, speech and debate. Maybe you should hold a workshop for us, how to listen to different perspectives and how the speech and discussions happened. It was fantastic. I urge we have speech and debate in all high schools and all middle schools, so that this is an important skill that can help. So those are two important things I wanted to say, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Director Chandaguri. Director Avila?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair Carson Cunningham. Last night I got to attend a community needs assessment with hosted by Salem for Refugees community engagement session. It was wonderful, very authentic community engagement process with our communities from all of, I would say mostly Middle Eastern and very multiple different languages. Though we couldn't hear or understand what was taking place in the circles of those tables, these parents that were attending, it was very well attended. You could just see the engagement and the communication that they're having with each other. I'm totally excited to hear, to be able to read once the work is translated, and the recommendations, what these parents need. And it was great authentic conversations and engagement that the district supported in this effort. So really thank you for that.
Thank you. Second Vice Chair?
Thank you. There was, I guess, trying to go in order here, there was conferences at the schools a few weeks ago now, and I don't know if we've met since then, but just wanted to really just say thank you to all of the educators out in schools who took the time to meet and greet parents as they were walking in. I know I went to my son's elementary school, and it was just very welcoming, very sweet, and he was super excited to show me the pumpkins in the hallways that they had decorated. You know, they had a pumpkin decoration contest. So just huge gratitude for all of that work. I know a lot of relationships are built from those conversations, and attended the health adoption conversation that Assistant Superintendent Olga Cobb discussed. So I'm excited to continue to support in that work. Also was there present for the previously mentioned needs assessment conversations, which I would totally echo, although I could understand a few words that some folks were saying in English. What strikes me the most is just how engaged families, parents are, and to just know that we have staff in our district who can speak the native languages of families and students. I think to me that speaks volumes. Of course, we need to continue to build that those numbers, but just knowing that there's been an effort, that there's been an intentionality in doing that, to me is really significant. And so just seeing how staff engage with families and how families engage with staff, because that relationship and that trust is there, is really important. And lastly, want to say thanks to Sprague Principal Raylyn. I took a little walk through Sprague and the bond updates, and Raylyn guided us through the building and just really explained a lot of the work that had happened. Got to just see some of the CTEC programs out there as well, and really appreciated that. So thank you.
Thank you. So I had the opportunity to attend one of our community engagement sessions last week with our families receiving special education. It was really informative, and I'm looking forward to doing some more outreach to those families. I also got the opportunity to visit McKay again, meet with the principal, and it was just an incredible visit, seeing more of what that school is doing. to overcome challenges. I got to be there during a really busy time with lots of students passing from lunch to classrooms, and I just applaud all of the staff there, and the work that they're doing is incredible, and I hope to be back sometime soon. And then lastly, we are going to be meeting tomorrow for tribal consultation with the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians, and I'm excited to be a part of that consultation.
Well, I also got to go to McKay, and it was really great to see all of the work that our educators and all the staff put in to serve, I think I was told, the third largest high school in Oregon, which was absolutely mind-blowing to me. And I got to see my niece at lunch as well, because that's where she goes. So also I participated in the SCATS meeting on October 25th, where we reviewed the initial MTP, our initial project evaluation. So SCATS makes this metropolitan transportation plan for the area, which is like Salem-Keizer, Turner, just a lot of like Marion County. And the plan is from 2023 to 2050. And so we had our initial project evaluation where we got to see a lot of like the planned infrastructure updates in the areas, roads, stoplights, pedestrian crossings, etc. And so if anybody's interested in seeing some of that information, it is on the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments website. And you can see the breakdown on where the projects are falling and how far out they are to be completed. And in that same vein, there are some projects that the City of Salem is hoping to get work started on. But as many other things, as we've seen recently, there is a significant cost escalation. And so there are some projects that they're really hoping that can get funded with the bond that is actually up right now. And so we're hoping that that passes so that the City of Salem can continue funding projects such as pedestrian crossings, which also we had an amendment where we had to reduce 5 pedestrian crossings to 2. Lancaster Drive between Sunnyview Northeast and Wolverine Street, and then pick one of 2 crossings on State Street in the vicinity of 19th or 21st Street. And so all of those additional safety measures that we can have for families and community and our kids to get to school safely, they come up on the chopping block because there's lack of funds available. So I'm really hoping that that bond passes, and I really hope that folks can check out the MTP plan, because like I said, it's from 2023 to 2050. So there's a lot of projects that we're hoping to get built, but we're just really hanging on due to financial constraints. And that's it for me.
Great, thank you. Raylin?
So, of course, I got to start out with speech and debate. Like Satya said previously, last Saturday we had our Sprague Speech and Debate Tournament, and I would like to give an awesome thanks and shout out to Michael Curry, who is the Sprague Speech and Debate coach, and it is because of him that it's possible that we were able to come together last Saturday and be able to debate and use and progress in our speaking skills. Also on that Saturday, Sprague Speech and Debate, Sprague Band went to Eugene to participate in state, and we took 7th overall, which is the first time that we have been in the top 10 in over 11 years. Like Karina said, I was able to give a tour of Sprague and our new bond work construction, so that was great. And we recently at Sprague started our Hoover gift drive, and so I want to give a big shout out to those who are running that. So thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Isaac?
Yeah, so I'd like to just highlight some things that are going on at my school, West Salem High School. So first, we had our new Commons open, which is a big room right above our old Commons, and it's really nice. It opened like 2 days ago, and so it's been cool to sit in there, eat my lunch, and it's actually a really nice space. And then also, tonight at West, we had our sports awards night. So a lot of families and students came in tonight from all the teams to receive many athletic awards and also many academic awards along with that. And a special shout out to our girls soccer team who won conference, and then our boys cross country team who got third in state. And it was the first time a Salem-Keizer team had gotten top 3 in state since 1962. And the girls team also got 6th in state. And then our marching band at West Salem High School got 2nd in state. And our theater is starting to ramp up their production of the Drowsy Chaperone. So make sure you attend that if you are in the area. So a lot of good things happening in West Salem in terms of extracurriculars. And then also our school is starting a food drive in all the advisory classes. So just for families there, make sure you bring in some non-perishable items for the food drive.
Awesome, thank you. All right. I think that concludes our meeting. Superintendent already did the reminder of the additional meeting that we have on the 30th. And if there's nothing else for the good of the order, then I will adjourn the meeting. It is 8:08 p.m. Thank you so much.
No.